Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1296 of our daily content grind. Today, we are going to be doing something I should have done a long time ago. We are going to tier list the classic G1 mini cassettes. And to do this as tightly as possible, we are going to include only those who have actual G1 cassette toys. We are not concerned with any of the potential shattered glass ones that are only existing in fiction and artwork. We are not concerned with any that are derivative of modern molds, like the Fall of Cybertron discs or the new Siege ones. All we really want here is the G1, the OG molds. So as long as you have one of those, you qualify. As it turns out, there's about 35 in total, which makes for a pretty good assortment. Now, to expedite this, so hopefully this tier list doesn't take forever, we are going to be sorting them by the mold. So all we have to do is talk about the transformation design once, and then we can just talk color schemes the rest of the time. And we can focus on the real duty of getting these into their appropriate tiers, starting at the top, the Holy Grail, followed by premium price, retail release, bargain bin, and flea market. We'll see if any of these end up in the flea market level, because generally the cassettes, given what they are usually pretty good at what they do. So we are going to start where we obviously have to start, the most popular, the most well-known, that would be Laserbeak. And I don't think there's a question here. Do we immediately start with a Holy Grail tier? Because he does have a fun little transformation, especially like the OG G1 mold has some extra like hinges to the wings to make them extend out further. He has a little bit more dimension to him. The head doesn't just flip out, it pulls out, it has the double hinge neck. So he does get a little bit more dimensional than some of the cassettes we're going to be talking about here in the future. So I want to put him pretty high. And of course, black, red, silver, really not a color scheme you can do incorrectly. I think Laserbeak has to go to the Holy Grail point. I think it just has to. Which brings us to our various repaints, starting with Buzzsaw. And Buzzsaw himself, exactly the same toy, we're just dealing with different stickers and a different base main, like tertiary color, which happens to be gold or like a dark yellow. And I don't think it looks as good. Like Buzzsaw is a surprisingly fun character in some fictions, but toy-wise, the irony is he waited so long to get some kind of brand new toy. He finally got one last year. Good on him. But it is a little bit more of a dull color scheme. It still looks good. I just don't think, the black and red looks better than the yellow and black. Like, I'm sorry, it's Bumblebee's thing, I guess. But I still think he's premium because we're still grading by like a really good engineering point. Okay, so how do we feel about Garboil? The blue works. Like, I don't mind the blue on this design, and being like a solid color rather than the black does bring out a little bit of different color, potential. I'm not sure I like it as much as the black colors, though. I think this one might be a little bit lower. Because it's okay, but also it comes across as, like, I feel like they could have done a little bit more. Like, if they chromed the weapons in a different color, I think it'd be more interesting. If they had, like, played around with the stickers a little bit more. But, like, this was also kind of just like a quick repaint release that I think eHobby did. I feel like I'm grading this unfairly because I'm, like, dropping things pretty low. Because, like, his transformation still means he's pretty good. I'm going to put him up to premium, but I will tell you he's probably going to end up on the low side, because I don't think the color scheme carries him nearly as well as the black and gold or the black and red. That said, Sunder is fascinating to me. Like, talk about taking the mold in a different direction, right? So, gold, chrome, that already is a lot different. The bright orange, a lot different. He takes that, like, that condor look, and he's swapping it in for more something akin to a phoenix. And I'm really into that. I really, really like that. I think this works better than it should. And I think I think color scheme wise, it brings out a completely different profile to that mold. Right now I'm going to put it high premium. I think I like it better than Buzzsaw. I like it better than Buzzsaw. I'm not going to go full like, oh, well, it's a holy grail tier, but I do really like it. I do really, really like it. And then we have this thing. This is Shattered Glass Buzzsaw. So in order to make Shattered Glass Buzzsaw, they repurposed the Linkin Park Laserbeak mold, or Buzzsaw, whichever one that turned out to be. It's flat gold. It's just dull, you know? Like, just like everything on that Linkin Park Soundwave, it's just flat and dull. You know, all they did was just color it gold and call it a day. It's lame, it's boring, you know, it really makes a otherwise good mold go down quite a lot. I'm actually going to bargain bin this. The mold itself, physically, is still a really good mold, but the color scheme, or lack thereof, which is a problem, is just a criminal shame. You could have made this look really neat if all you had to do was take a secondary color. No, not to be. Didn't want to try that. Didn't want to be bothered. Oh well. Ravage. Okay, another quintessential mold from Soundwave's cassettes. Now, it's iconic. Granted, yeah. And the black and silver, okay, that looks good on a Jaguar toy. And I really like how the transformation creates that Jaguar silhouette all the way to like the high top shoulders that, you know, like a very fast land animal tends to have. But we will admit this mold is a little bit problematic because it has very small feet and is very hard to balance. So it's a little bit tricky sometimes to keep him standing. Usually like a good like a little quick blow just knocks the toy over. You just like fan your hand too quick and it's going to fall over. So I can't give him like huge numbers here. Like I can't really bring I can't bring him like huge here. But I think I like him better than Buzzsaw. At least, you know, the color scheme brings him better than Buzzsaw. I can't put him Holy Grail, Ravage fans. He's good looking mold. He has that one flaw that holds him back. And that's going to follow through for all of his variations. So here's another blue repaint. This is the Cobalt Sentry. And the blue and the gunmetal is fine. You know, like I don't think it's as striking as Ravage in the black and the silver. I definitely don't think it's as menacing. Remember, he's supposed to still be a Decepticon. And now that we have to take the mold problems into account, I'm actually dropping him to retail release. The blue's still fine. It's a good shade of blue. It's just not cutting it here. It doesn't ring true to the mold quite as much. I like Garboil better. I think Garboil survives better in that color scheme, and obviously better mold. But that takes us to Stripes, and Stripes is another interesting one. So we've changed him to a tiger, which kind of matches the mold, but this is one of those where you have a full transformation of the visual, you know, similar to Sunder. It works. In a weird way, it kind of works. I like it better as like an Autobot take on Ravage than something else we're going to see on this list soon. I like it well enough. I don't want to put it too high. I do think it's above Howlback. I like it better than Howlback, so we'll put him higher up on the retail release end. And that brings us to Glit. And this is, at this point, we do have to mention that some of these molds represent multiple characters. No, Shattered Glass Ravage is not on this list because his toy was hurt, you know, the toy itself was repurposed from the Glit figure from Kiss Players. So it's a toy that represents the exact same character, you know, the exact same, you know, two different characters from the exact same mold. So, you know, there's a few doubles in here. So Shattered Glass Ravage, Glit, whatever you want to call it. Again, it's an interesting switch up. I like thematically that they don't transform into a actual like audio cassette. They turn into a head cleaner, which is a clever little twist to do. I do ultimately like the color scheme. I like it better than Stripes or Howlback. And again, it's one of those color schemes that just kind of like takes it in a very different direction. I don't like it too much, but I like it enough to put it up to premium. I think that's fair enough. Okay, do not come at me with pitchforks and sticks for this. This is Frenzy. We're talking about the toys, the original OG toy, so the blue one is Frenzy. In this moment, in this video, that's the only iteration that exists. I grew up with the cartoon. I know him as Rumble. Don't get me wrong, I'm on your side, but this is the toy. It's Frenzy. And Frenzy, I think, is doing fine. The blue and the purple work. The blue and the purple work. I do like that. I like it better because probably for the same reasons that they actually switched the names and the color scheme, or at least the color schemes in the original cartoon, because it gives Soundwave's early cassettes some very needed variety. It gets them away from like everybody's black with one tertiary color, and it's usually red. So we need a little bit of variety here. The purple and blue, perfect. That actually works well. And the mold itself is actually really good. So the weird thing about this mold is, thanks to the way it transforms, Frenzy does enjoy some things that a lot of modern Transformers generally don't have, like hips that move outward, bicep rotation, double jointed elbows, and then even like outward shoulders. And that's all thanks to how the toy transforms. I think we even have a neck joint in there, because I think the head has to, if I haven't picked one up in a while, but I believe the head has to, or is the head press in? I can't remember. Point being, doesn't matter. There's a lot of extra articulation to this toy for its size. The fact that it has articulation leaning more toward a modern figure than a G1 figure, I think is incredibly impressive. The only difference is, like, where does it go? I think toy-wise alone puts him up to the Holy Grail tier. And then that just leaves what to do with his two repaints. So black and red, okay, we kind of see that on Laserbeak. That's fine. And it doesn't look bad on the toy itself. So accounting for the fact that the mold is still really good, I think Rumble is a high premium. I think the blue and the purple look nicer. And of course that might just be, the difference going in here. But, like, I think it works better, especially when you hit the gold and the chrome too. Like, at least like on the stuff that's on his chest, the gold on the chest. Like, I think that hits better. Frenzy's still, like, Rumble's still fine. Rumble still looks really, really good. I think I like Frenzy just a little bit more. And then we get the oddball out. They actually did make Enemy. Enemy, for those who don't know, was a walkie-talkie whose sculpt was based on Rumble/Frenzy, but was cast in red. So all it was Enemy. That's the only word it had on the actual, like, packaging. Like, this was the walkie-talkie of the Enemy. So eventually Enemy just became a repaint of the original toy, and it's red with blue as a secondary color, chrome is the tertiary. It's okay. I do think this color scheme takes the mold down a little bit. Weirdly enough, it feels like it would have worked better as a partner to Frenzy than the original Rumble, because the color tones and the layouts kind of match better, but that's a different universe. Talking about this universe, I think it's a little bit of a miss. I don't think the mold works as well. Color scheme dragging it down for me quite a bit. I'm still going to put it premium because the mold is still really, really good. I just don't think the colors hit right. So we're going to keep it to that. Premium section looking just pristine right now. But hey, now we got Ratbat. This is, again, one of the better molds. It's one of the few cassette bots I've never owned, because a complete one, thanks to those stupid little ears, is crazy expensive, and I don't want to pay for it. This might be one of those times where I'm like, there's a reproduction out there, right? I don't condone it, but I might have no choice. So, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt here. I think what I like a lot about Ratbat is it shows just how small the engineering on those toys could get, considering these were the size of micro cassettes. They were very, very small. So to have little elements like the tiny flip out feet, the tiny little ears that rotate out, I think that was really impressive for the day. Also, they figured out another wing transformation that kept him very separate from Laserbeak. I think that accounts for a lot too. Yeah, Holy Grail tier. Holy Grail tier. But then we get to his repaints. Now, Wing Thing, I think, has an unfortunate history. So, okay, it's the Action Master Soundwave's partner. And I do think it is great that he gets to actually be a mini-cassette, like any of Soundwave's others. I do think we've missed something by just making him a Ratbat repaint. Number one, you can't get his head the correct color, so he's always going to look weird. Obviously, number two is he does not have a weapon mode, meaning, the original intent of Wing Thing is lost. But ultimately, I just don't think Ratbat looks good in orange. Like, there's something about those colors that drag that mold way down for me. Like when you look at the original Ratbat, like, I could argue that, maybe it's unfair to put him above Rumble because Rumble's mold is extremely good, engineering-wise, for its size. It's just aesthetically, Ratbat hits hard. The purple, the black, the gold chrome accessories, if you had the gold chrome one especially, it's a regal color scheme. It's a beautiful color scheme. It works really, really well. Wing Thing is just this bright orange, and he doesn't have that secondary color. He's black and then gunmetal for the chrome, which it looks different, but it doesn't add the color profile I need to really let this toy sing a little bit. I think this drags it way down, honestly. I think it drags it way down. Like, I really just do not like how Wing Thing looks in this mold. I don't think it works. And ironically, he has a Masterpiece toy too, and the Masterpiece also does not have a painted head. Okay. That said, the Shattered Glass one, I don't know how they got away with this because it's a Batman homage. I don't know how they got away with this, and I think this color scheme has no business working as well as it does. This is crazy how good this toy looks in that color scheme. It's not even the Batman thing. It just looks good in the blue, in the pale blue, the yellow accents. Something about it absolutely works. Something about it absolutely works. The homage at that point is just a fun little bonus. So I'm gonna put him back to Holy Grail. You know what? No. That's getting a little bit too excited. That's getting a little bit too excited. I'm gonna put him between Ravage and Sunder. Because the mold itself is still just a good mold, but not a fantastic mold. Like, if we're talking like mold quality wise here, like, I might put Frenzy like at the top of Holy Grail. But I do think the color scheme makes it strong enough to stand in the premium price point. Okay, and then we get to, let's keep going. Slugfest. I love the dino cassettes. I will admit, Slugfest is not horribly interesting as a transforming figure. So, like, the little legs flip down, the head and tail flip down. That's essentially your lot. Like, okay, the spines pull up, but, like, it's not the most thrilling of cassettes. It's two-dimensional engineering. It's kind of uneventful, even for a cassette bot. As much as I like them, like the color scheme, I feel like the color scheme is a very acquired taste because it's like an olive green and pink, which is a really, really weird mix of colors. It's kind of toxic looking. It's kind of sickly looking. So between the, geez, I don't want to do this to the boy because I actually do like Slugfest. I've got a Slugfest toy, but I don't think he's all that great. I don't think he's all that great. And I think what makes me realize that is this Shattered Glass repaint, which brings him to some more classic Dinobot colors, and I think the colors look way better. Like, I would still say that mold is just kind of okay. It's kind of okay, but I really like the colors better on the Shattered Glass. I'm going to put him between the two cats. And hopefully that is okay with everybody. Sorry for the Slugfest fans. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. Someone's going to end up in the flea market eventually here. Okay. Overkill. One of the better names ever. Surprise. Like, this amazes to me that, like, Slugfest mold was still around, but not Overkill's. So we can't have both of them reissued. That's why only one was in the Shattered Glass set. For Overkill, again, I like his mold well enough. He does suffer a little bit because I think in cassette mode he does the worst job of hiding because his big old Allosaurus head is just there in the cassette mode. I feel like he's in that later run of cassettes that didn't really know how to hide themselves all that well. He's okay, though. He's okay. I do like his stature, and I do like his overall look. Color scheme is interesting, too. Like, off-white and dark blue. It's not something I would think of offhand, but it actually works on him. So, I think he's still up to retail release, though. I think he's still a little bit flawed, but he's okay. I like him well enough. Okay, then we get into my boys. So, starting with Beastbox. I'm a little bit on the fence on this one. Color scheme is fine. Transformation is not that thrilling. And we'll admit it's because we know it's not that thrilling because it's going to be half of a combiner. For the sake of this list, I don't think it's fair to lump in the combine mode because that's something that so few of the cassettes could actually do. I'm going to account for it when I judge them on their own. So for all of the combining cassettes, we're going to judge them as independent toys and then account for the fact that, you know, this engineering is held back by, you know, the combination element. And for that, I think Beastbox is okay. He is a basic gorilla bot. The color scheme looks fine. He's not as dynamic as some of the other humanoid bots. You know, obviously his articulation is up there, but, you know, he's doing his best. He has to form a shirt. He's doing his best. I do like Squawk Talk better. You know, if you've seen this channel for long enough, you know my history with Squawk Talk. He was my childhood Laserbeak because I lost the original Laserbeak toy. And I do overall like him. I will admit, yeah, he still has that two-dimensional thing going on that Laserbeak manages to avoid. But I like the added sculpting to it. The fact that the wings unfold and there's sculpted feather detail. I think that works really, really well. So I like him better. I like him better. I will admit, I'm trying to put my bias aside. I'm gonna put him premium, but not any higher than like the middle of the road. You know, because like there are superior toys and superior color schemes above him. So I will acquiesce to that. So that takes care of the Decepticons. Let's talk about the Autobots. And sorry, going longer than I expected it to, because that's tier listing in general on YouTube. So we have Steeljaw, which is basically suffering the same two-dimensional problem as Ravage. I do think he stands a little bit better balanced. Last I checked, he stands a little bit better than Ravage does, but that's not saying much. You know, there's still bipeds on a two-dimensional plane, or quadrupeds on a two-dimensional plane. The overall look is cool. I do like how they managed to rework the shape to do another cat as a cassette, but also rework where the bulk goes to create the lion mane look and that heavy look in the upper body. I will give them that. I will give him credit for that. I do think he's good. He's essentially Ravage again with different proportions. So I think it's fair to put him right there with Ravage at the top, around premium price level. That said, we have Night Stalker following him. And Night Stalker feels like they're trying too hard. Night Stalker feels like someone at Takara said, Blaster needs his own Ravage. So they just took his cat, painted him like Ravage, and right down to the fact that he comes with Ravage's weapons instead of Steeljaws. And I'm sorry, I don't think this is a good look. Okay, the Black Lion is neat. Fine. But it really just is like Ravage on a different mold. And that just feels low effort. That feels lost, wasted opportunity. And it's kind of dull. You know, like on a sleek bot, this black and silver works. On a heavier one, I don't know. Like, I don't think it suits him as well. I don't think it suits him as well. I am very unimpressed by him. Not... No, Lincoln Park Buzzsaw. Keep going down. You keep going down. Alright, Ramhorn. Ramhorn kind of does the 2D thing too, but his feet are decent enough, and like he's like weirdly enough like stocky in the right ways. He's like a little bit more like lower center of gravity because of those stocky like shorter legs. So he actually is a little bit more stable than the other quadrupeds. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt there. He actually is brown, like a lot of rhinos are. So I guess the color scheme is definitely fitting. Engineering wise, I don't think he's all that great, you know, because, you know, like the cassette body doesn't change a whole lot. You know, most of the bulk is already there, you know, and he's just flipping his head and feet out. He's not bad, though. He's not bad. I'm going to put him like high retail release, somewhere around there. And then we get into his shattered glass look, this blue and gray, which actually works better than I expected. Like, he doesn't look bad at all. I kind of like how the look is. I'm not necessarily better or worse than the original brown, though, so I'm going to keep him, like, right in the middle, right beside. I think that's fair of me, as fair as I can be in this listing. Now we get to the most common mold, and I was actually surprised. I thought it would be one of Soundwave's minions that was the most common, but no, it's the Rewind mold. This is the one that's been used the most. So starting with Rewind, black, silver, the white. Okay, I mean he looks fine. He looks fine. Proportionally, I do like his look better than Rumble and Frenzy. He doesn't have quite as much in the realm of like interesting articulation for his size and for the era of toy he's in. He's not bad though. He is not bad. I will give him credit. He still looks okay. So, going on the fact that like he's just a really clean robot, and that's a really good thing in a series like this where it's very, very limited what they can do with the engineering. I think that puts him... Where does that put you? I think that puts him like on the lower end of the premium scale, maybe above Squawk Talk. Yeah, I think right about there, and that's where we'll get our baseline for this mold as we move on to Eject. And I think this is just, you know, toss the coin for preference here. Like, they're exactly the same except for their main mold color. It's either black or blue. Which one do you prefer better? Meaning I can just put him right next to Rewind and everything's fine. Everything's fine. My scroll bar is messed up now. Okay, we'll let me see if I can't fix this just a little bit. Hang on. Make sure you guys can actually see the entirety of the list. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's a little cut off, but you get it. Okay, so that puts us at the two girls now. And the first one we're going to talk about is Flipsides. Now, I think the color scheme for Flipsides is absolutely fantastic because it's a color scheme that not only goes like, okay, female cassette, got it, but also the toy itself is really, really good at conveying both Autobot or Decepticon, depending on how you view it. Like, white and pink works well for like a female Autobot character. It's the fact that it's a darker shade of pink and it's using that black highlight that can also make me go Decepticon. And given the fact that she is a double agent character, that tells me a lot. That's a really, really well-informed color scheme. That tells you about the character, even if you don't know about the character. That's a really, really good color scheme. Color scheme wise, I think I put her up right there with like Shattered Glass Ratbat. I think that is a really good call. So yeah, let's put her up there, and then we have Rosanna, who is just girly, girly pink. Girly, 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 girly pink. There's 3 shades of pink on this toy. And then like light blue chrome, just to be a little bit extra, you know? It definitely stands out. I don't think it looks bad, though. That's the thing. Whereas I could say, like, Eject and Rewind look a little bit plain. I can't say that about Rosanna in the least. So, again, mold is just kind of clean. It's not doing anything extravagant, but it is very nice looking, and it's not doing anything offensive engineering-wise. I can go ahead and put it, you know, I don't think there's any reason to, like, shoot anyone too far up or down the list. Flip side is just because I think the color scheme's brilliant. And that leaves us to Shattered Glass. If I remember right, which one was this? I want to say Eject. Nope, Shattered Glass Rewind. Shattered Glass Rewind. Don't go to the comments section. I corrected myself. This is one of those that doesn't really hit me so well. Kind of similar to Enemy. I'm not sure it's a color scheme that suits the mold very well. You know what it is? It's the bright blue face. Like, and that's not something that doesn't thrill me on the original versions, like the bright orange face. It just kind of muddies the details and makes the two look too identical. The bright blue, I understand. Like, it's an opposing color, makes sense for, you know, like an inverted character. But I don't think the color scheme works that great. I don't think it works that great. Like, that takes it down. That takes it down quite a bit. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the color scheme. Not a fan. Alright, so here we're going to get into some divisive ones. So Grand Slam is, you know, one of Blaster's combiner ones. And he's a tank. And, yeah, the gimmick of there's a couple cassettes that are vehicles is actually kind of interesting. But also, it really feels like it's not a character at that point, doesn't it? It just feels like he spits a drone out. And conceptually, I'm not crazy about the idea. I like that they're all mini robots and animals, you know? It's like you're dumping Pokemon out onto the battlefield. But when it's just a tank, it just doesn't work for me. You know, and design-wise, it never really does anything for me. Like okay, fine, it's a tank. It kind of just looks like the cassette's folded in half and you added guns to it. Like, in that, I think he's got to be the flea market one. I think he's got to be the flea market one. On his own, it's not great. On his own, it's not great. Beyond that, okay, what about Raindance? Raindance is kind of in the same boat. You know, it's just kind of a very flat jet. I think it looks a little bit more interesting and jet-like than Slam Dance's tank, or, you know, Grand Slam's tank, rather. Yeah, this doesn't work really for me either. Like, I think it breaks the concept. It's a fun little gimmick to have something, like, different. But, like, it just doesn't inspire, like the same vibe of the other cassettes in the right way. And that's the point, is to be different, but I don't necessarily think it's a good different. You know, and I understand both of them are simple and sacrifice in order to be combiners. But you saw Beastbox and Squawkbox, so I don't see where the excuse is. Let's take a look at the last four, and I will tell you, I don't see where the excuse is. Right, so Dial might be one of my favorite cassettes ever. The engineering and transformation on him are really, really good. He fixes the two-dimensional standing thing by having hinges that lets his legs spread out and gives him a much wider standing base. He does have this better, like, he's an iguanodon, but he has this better, more obvious dinosaur silhouette to him than any of the other dino combined, you know, cassettes to that point. Like, he does better than Slugfest and Overkill. I think he does best than all of his contemporaries that came out at the same time. And the fact that he's going to be half of a combiner on top of just being one of the better transformations amongst all of these cassettes, I think is saying a lot. I'm going to be honest, one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites. I'm thrilled he finally came out in the US. Very underrated toy. Oh, and then we have to go to Noise, his partner. And Noise is just kind of there in the same boat as Overkill. So it's kind of It was just kind of like a bipedal dinosaur shape, two-dimensional engineering, and then guns strapped to the side of him. I think he looks a little bit better. Like, I think the sculpting on him is a little bit better than Overkill, but ultimately they kind of serve the same purpose and have the same design intent. I'll put him a little bit above because he's doing all of that and still has to combine. So he does get a notch over Overkill in that regard. It takes us to Graphy. And honestly, Graphy is where things suffer a little bit. So, yes, he has to form a set of legs. But he's trying to do the Ratbat thing, and he's doing it in a much more simplified way. On his own, I don't think he stands up very well. He just kind of feels like he's doing Ratbat's engineering thing, just kind of worse. And honestly, like, the red and the black at this point looks kind of dull. You know, like, on him it looks kind of dull. I think because the red is too prevalent, and there's nothing really breaking it up like there is on, you know, like, either Rumble or Laserbeak. So I can't put him terribly high on here. I think I think he's up here, you know, somewhere in the low retail release, if I'm being honest. Not the most thrilling figure. But then we get to close it out with the last Dino cassette, which is Czar. And I think Czar is a hysterical thing in the Dino cassettes, making like this full Brontosaurus mode out of a cassette, I think is funny. Again, not terribly exciting, but I do like the silhouette they create. I do like the overall gimmickry of it, and again, he has to form a combiner section, so I think I like him well enough to put him up like high into retail. That's about as far as I'm going to let him go. And I believe that is going to do it for our list. This one is going to be very divisive. I will be honest, like, I'm going with gut instinct when I put some of these on this list. I'm not even sure if I really stand by this list myself. If I sat and thought about it, I would probably do a lot of little bits of rearranging, but, you know, I want to go by gut instinct. My gut instinct is this is kind of where everyone deserves to be. Obviously, everyone's preferences are different. If your favorite ended up low, you're free to yell at me in the comments section over it. It's just my opinion. But that's what I got for you today, so thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.